Okay, taking a look inside the box. Just the way it'll come. You have the pistol with a magazine in it, and you have the other two magazines here. We're going to uncover those and take a look at them momentarily. You also have the original hammer spring. It has been replaced with the D-spring at Wilson Combat. And in this case, in this pistol, it has had the extra tuning done on the action. And here is the 92G Centurion Wilson Combat Beretta collaboration, and it is a beautiful handgun. Let me get these two magazines out of here, and then we can close that box up and get it out of the way. There is the extended magazine. That is, I believe, a 20 rounder. Yep, 20 round magazine, and two 17 round magazines. That's what it comes with. Alright, so here is the pistol with the three magazines that come with it. Two 17 rounders and one 20 rounder. They are all Italian made, probably Mekgar, although they are not stamped as such. The 20 rounder has a sort of a dull phosphate finish. The two 17 rounders are glossy finish. All three, both types, very well made. So this is the Centurion. The Centurion has a full duty height, or as Wilson calls it, professional height. That is the full size frame. This is the A1 frame, but it has the rounded trigger guard. Has the very nice and very slim VZ grips in the special blended grays. Really not black and white or gray and white. It's kind of a blend of different shades of gray. Centurion's slide is not the Brigadier slide, so it is not the extra beefy or extra thick slide like the Brigadier Tactical. So it's going to be a little lighter in that respect, as well as a little bit shorter. Okay, let's get to it. Let's put the first rounds through this beautiful pistol, the Beretta 92G Centurion. Brand new to the market. Two 17 round magazines are full, and the 20 round magazine is full. That's an entire, actually 15 rounds each in the two 17s, and 20 in the 20. That's a full box of 50. 115 grains, Sig Sauer Elite Performance. That's what I'm going to start out with. Then I'm going to move up to 124 grain and probably even some 147 grain. So I'm going to try a lot of different things, throw some hollow points through it as well. We'll try a variety of ammo, some different distances and all that good stuff, see how this thing shoots. But mostly, I just want to shoot it. All right, I'm going to start out double action like I did on the Big Brother. This double action trigger is incredible. Yes, it is. Wow, incredible. That was the first 15 rounds. I'm already in love. This thing is very, very nice. I have to admit, the little mag guide on the bottom really does assist in loading the magazine. A little bit of beveling doesn't hurt. Go back to double action. I'm really not a big fan of controls on the slide, and this gun doesn't do anything to change my mind about that. Didn't like it on the old Smith 39s, and I don't like it on this. But at least it's a decocker only with the G, so there's no manual safety. It springs back up. All right, back to it. 15 more rounds. This Ameri hackathorn front sight is incredible. Absolutely incredible. In this kind of daylight, cloudy, it's a big orange circle with with like a black dot in the center. And wherever you put that front sight, that's your impact. So it is definitely a center hold sight picture. This thing is an amazingly sweet shooter. The trigger is phenomenal. The reset is not quite as tactile on the Centurion as it is on my Brigadier Tactical. Now that could just be a matter of, you know, which gunsmith did the work, or, you know, what kind of work they did on a particular day. But that said, it is very, very sweet and light. The trigger pulls are almost identical for the two guns, so that says a lot for their consistency. And man, it's just a sweet shooter. Absolutely sweet. All right, let me keep going and keep yakking. 20 rounds in the 20 round extended magazine. And again, we are shooting 6 Hour Elite Performance, 115 grain. This will be a full box of it. Sight picture is fantastic. The grip feels great. You can feel that it's thinner than the Brigadier. The checkering on the front and back are very aggressive. Well, there you go, folks. Got to squint a little to see from here, but that is 50 rounds just about through one hole. And that's about 8 yards down range for distance. I'm going to move back a little bit and I'm going to load up some heavier rounds. Let's move on to the 124 grain. I'll be right back. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that make the Centurion Tactical special. This gun is the result of a joint venture between Beretta and Wilson Combat, very much like the 92G Brigadier, which I have a video just recently of that, so go back and look at that if you want some information on that one. I'll talk right now just about this one, and down the road I can almost guarantee a comparison between the two. It is a Beretta 92. It is the G version of the Beretta 92, and what that means is the decocker is a decocker only. The ambidextrous control on the slide drops the hammer, but it does not cause the gun to be unsafe. It is not a manual safety. And basically, in total, the gun was built to Wilson Combat specifications provided to Beretta. Now, a lot of people may think that the gun actually is made by Wilson Combat, but it's not. It is made completely at the Beretta factory, and then it is shipped to Wilson Combat. What Wilson Combat does is they provide an extra level of Q&A. They go through it, make sure it does meet their specs, fits all their tolerances, and then, if it's been ordered with a few of the options, they will perform those options there. And there's really only a couple of things. The main option that you can get right out of the box is the trigger job. That is the special custom action work. This one has had the action enhancement work. In my opinion, if you're going to spend the money for the Wilson Combat Beretta, spend the extra and get the action tune. Get that custom action tune work done. It does make an enormous difference. So it's basically an M9A1 frame, but it has the round trigger guard like a 92A1. Has that profile. Has a shortened slide, so we've got the commander size, if you will, Beretta 92. It's a much better slide to frame fit than you're going to have with a stock Beretta 92, or pretty much any of its variants that are typical Beretta models. Again, that's those Wilson Combat specifications. The stainless steel barrel has a recessed crown. It's a nice square cut crown. It's not conical like a lot of crowns are. Okay, some of the other things that differentiate it is an oversized all steel magazine release. Very well checkered. Very, very effective. It has the Elite 2 skeletonized hammer. Mentioned the D-spring, it does have the D hammer spring installed at the factory. Wilson Combat Mag Guide has been installed on this Centurion. That is a standard feature for the Centurion. Makes it a little more expensive. It has the Wilson Combat rear U-notch sight that they call the battle sight. Blacked out, serrated, very nice, very effective rear sight. The front sight on this gun is an Ameri. It is a tritium with an orange ring, and it is the hackathorn design. All the components in this gun are steel inside and out, with the exception of the grips themselves, and they are an ultra-thin G10. They call them gray and black, but they're really just lots of different shades of gray. And as I mentioned, it comes with 3 magazines, 2 17-rounders and 1 20-rounder. Okay, the key numbers on the gun. Barrel length 4.3, I mentioned that. Overall length is 7.75 inches, so it's a little bit shorter. Sight radius also gets shortened with that. That's 5.75 inches. The height remains the same at 5.5 inches. The width remains the same. And I suppose the song remains the same. The weight empty with a 17-round empty magazine inserted is 33.2 ounces. So it does lose some weight. It loses just about 3 ounces versus the Brigadier. And another noticeable change is the Just an Opinion grip index. I worked up the grip index on the Brigadier to be 4.02. Well, with these ultra-thin G10 grips, and I perceived just a little bit shorter trigger reach, I came up with a 3.8 Just an Opinion grip index for this gun. 4.2 versus 3.8 might not sound like a lot, but it actually is quite a big difference. Okay, let's take a look at the trigger pull. I have not measured it yet. This will be the first time, and this is obviously before shooting the gun. So, hasn't been shot or broken in any way. Double action. 6.13, or 6 pounds, 13 ounces, and that is incredibly similar to what I was getting on the Brigadier. So that definitely talks about consistency from the folks and the gunsmiths at Wilson Combat. Now let's check out single action. 3 pounds, 12.9 ounces. Again, beautifully light and crisp, sub 4 pound trigger, and very, very similar to what I got on the Brigadier. So again, very consistent work with this action tuning job from the folks at Wilson Combat. Okay, a couple of small details that are different between the Brigadier Tactical and the Centurion Tactical, this being the latter of those two. Number one, they have moved the Wilson Combat logo from back here on the right side, very rear of the slide, behind the decocker, to over here. A little bit better placement, I think, in my opinion. I think it looks nicer there. Talked about the sight. It is a different sight. It's an Ameri hackathorn tritium with an orange dot. Very, very nice front sight. We still have the same rear sight. That's the Wilson Combat battle sight. The G10 grips are extremely thin, probably about as thin as they can be, and hold up And the Wilson Combat Mag Guide is installed standard on this gun. You pay for it, it's in the price. This pistol is a little bit more expensive than the Brigadier Tactical. And that's one of the things you get. Okay, I have moved back to 10 yards, give myself a little bit more of a challenge, and switched over to 124 grain ball. Also, 6-hour Elite Performance. Going to start out double action. I love this double action trigger. So at 10 yards, you see that orange dot on the target, that's 3 inches diameter, and this front sight almost obscures it at 10 yards. Centurion does have a little bit more snap to it than the Brigadier Tactical. That 3 ounces on the Brig is pretty much all out front, so it does make a difference. This gun still manages the recoil very well. Hard to see from here how that group is doing. Hopefully it's decent. Still with 124 grain SIG. 10 yards. You can really feel the difference with the thinner grips. If you've got small to medium sized hands like me, it definitely helps you get a lot more hand around the gun. It gives you a better trigger reach. And as I said, just an opinion grip index is 3.8 versus I think 4.02 or something. A significant amount. Ah, man, I'll tell you what, this is a gun you can shoot all day and have a great time. The sight picture, I hate to keep harping on it, but the sight picture is fantastic. And the amazing trigger. Those two things, that sight picture and the trigger. Just how comfortable the grip is. Everything works together to just make it a joy to shoot and to shoot pretty well. Okay, real quick, this is not meant to be a teaser, but just a real quick comparison because I know it would annoy me if somebody had both of these guns and didn't do a comparison for me real quick. Brigadier Tactical is on the left and the new Centurion Tactical on the right. You can see there's not a whole lot of difference in the length, but there's about a ½ inch or so. And one of the more noticeable differences is the thickness of that slide. You see that heavy Brigadier slide here on the left and the much thinner slide and lighter on the right. So the 3 ounces difference between these guns is that ½ inch of length, but also much less steel in that slide. They are the same height and they are the same thickness, with the caveat that the Centurion is much thinner in here with the G10 grip than the Brigadier Tactical is. So this one feels rounder and fuller in your hand. This one feels much thinner. It really does make a big difference. You notice it right away. So there's a quick look at the two. I can almost promise you a head-to-head comparison between those guys before too long. Okay, now 20 rounds, actually 15, sorry. 15 rounds in the 20 round magazine And by the way, just as an aside, the spring in this 20-round magazine is very tight. You would think it kind of would be the opposite. You know, it's got to hold a lot more rounds. You think it'd be a looser spring, but man, you're fighting like from round number 1. So anyway, I got 147 grain Sig Sauer Elite Performance ball in this magazine. Try some of that. I'm not going to clean up my target. I'm just going to try and shoot better so you can see the hits. Maybe, hopefully print these a little lower. Well, this is about the best feeling load I've shot all day. It's just got a nice gentle roll to the recoil. Okay, good stuff. That's 100 rounds already. Do you believe it? 50 in the first dot, 50 in the second dot. That second 50 was a mix. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to do a few more as a bonus just for you. One of the other ways that the Centurion Tactical distinguishes itself from the Brig Tactical is that the Centurion Tactical does not have the fluted guide rod that the Brig Tactical does. So the Brig Tac has the fluted steel guide rod. This one is a steel solid guide rod, but it is not fluted. Magazine well is slightly beveled, so that should assist with some magazine loading. So the idea is, the way you use this mag guide is during a reload, back of the magazine makes first contact right here, and then you just shove it up in. All right, before we finish up, let's check out some hollow points. Also, Sig Sauer Elite Performance ammo. It's always nice to be able to train with what you carry, and the Full Metal Jacket and the hollow points let me do that. This is 10 rounds of 115 grain hollow point. Followed up by 10 rounds of Sig Sauer Elite Performance, you guessed it. Jacketed hollow point, 124 grain. This is pretty much what I carry. This is my first choice carry ammo right here. So if you're thinking about this as a carry gun, that's a little peppier. shooting MagTech now, just to put lots of different stuff through it. Coming up on 300 rounds. So if you said you got to shoot 1,000 rounds today, pick the gun you want to shoot it with. This will be on my short list, my very short list. This gun is a very, very sweet shooter, and it is just a joy to shoot. It handles the recoil very well. The ergonomics are fantastic. I can't say enough about how they thinned the grip with these ultra thin G10 grips and decreased the trigger reach. And you know, again, the Just an Opinion grip index, which takes into account the linear reach as well as the width of the grip, is much shorter. The trigger itself is a dream. It is light and it is crisp. The reset is not quite as tactile on this gun as it is on the Brigadier Tactical that I have, but it's still very good. It's just, again, it's harder to get that crisp feel of the reset on this gun. The sights are incredible. I think it's a big improvement. I love the big orange dot out front on this Ameri hackathorn sight. Still have the Wilson Combat Battle Sight in the rear, which is a very nice sight. The balance is absolutely incredible. All of the magazines functioned. Couldn't make this gun malfunction in any way with anything I fed it today. And that's about over 300 rounds of all kinds of different stuff, mostly Sig Sauer of all different varieties. So if you think it's just a smaller version of the Brigadier Tactical, you're kind of right and kind of not right. In many ways it is. Obviously it's a Beretta 92G, so it's still that. But again, they've slimmed it down. They have kept a lot of what we liked. Just like on the Brig Tac, one of my favorite features is this beautiful magazine release. It is big, it sticks out nice, and it is very well checkered, and it works flawlessly. All of the controls work flawlessly. The gun is generally dehorned, so if you did want to carry this gun, and it is about the size you could make this your carry gun. If you wanted this to be your carry gun, it's got a nice dehorned slide and frame. For the most part, all of the controls are dehorned. The thinner slide is going to help you. The shorter slide certainly is going to help you with that. It does have the mounting rail out front, Picatinny style or a Weaver style, so you can attach your favorite accessories out there, flashlights or lasers or whatever. I will say that the fit and finish on this particular pistol is not quite as nice as it was on the Brigadier Tactical. And I mean, I'm talking out of the box. So out of the box, this one had some mars and marks and things like that on the finish of the gun that I don't think it should have had. It looked like it was not handled as well as it should have. And the rear sight, there's some very pronounced marks on the rear sight, like it was driven on with a punch or adjusted and something like that, where they should have used a press. But those few little gripes aside, it is an absolutely fantastic gun. It's already a favorite. I'm only a few hundred rounds into it, and it's already a favorite. So I paid somewhere in the neighborhood of $12.50 for this, $1,250 thereabouts for this gun. And that is the base price without the tuning. And this one is tuned. So I got a great deal. And I got a great deal because my buddy at the candy store keeps me in candy, and I appreciate that a whole lot. But still, I paid around $12.50 for this gun. You can expect to pay probably a little bit more than that. Prices are going to stay high for a while because this gun is still going to be really hard to get for a while. But even when it starts to come into stock in different places, you can expect to pay $1,300 probably, maybe a little bit more, for the one with the action tune. Since the mag guide comes standard on this gun instead of a lanyard ring, which is a good thing, the only other option is the action tune. So if you opt for that, and I highly recommend you do. I know it's an extra $100, $150, whatever it is, and it's going to cost you maybe a little bit more time waiting for the gun to come in. But I still highly recommend it. It is very, very worth it. So at that, you're going to be out the door $1,300 to $1,400, depending on the kind of deal you get. So top end, maybe this is a $1,400 gun. And Is it worth it? Well, it's worth it if you think it is, right? And I personally think that it is. This is a very, very nice pistol. You'll see this one again. I promise you I will do some comparisons. I'll bring it back out for a take 2 and maybe a deep dive into it. And I will definitely compare it against the Brigadier Tactical, and I'll find some other things to compare it to too. But about 300 rounds into it today, and all I can do is smile and say thumbs up. This is a fantastic, fantastic pistol.